Hello and good evening. It's Friday night. Getting ready to do the reading for Saturday, June 19th. Coming up on solstice. Coming up on the end of the Mercury retrograde. Lots of fun energy this week, huh? How was that tower moment? I want to talk about that a little bit. Ah, good. And it's actually right on the top of the deck. So the tower came up, and the eight and the ace of cups. Actually, here's the one, and then there was this heartbreak, and instead of seeing it as heartbreak, I discussed it as I was feeling more of it as messages that pierce the heart. What something that Christopher Witecki was talking about earlier in the week was things about getting to the heart of the matter, like really getting into the really central part of things that really diving into the things that matter underneath all of the stuff, the smoke screens that we like to put up. Like once the smoke settles, we're really getting into the heart of it, and that's always going to be in that very vulnerable spot. So this tower situation, this is what often brings us to the place where we can get to the heart of the matter. We talked about that. And so the tower situation too, it doesn't have necessarily need to be like I said, doesn't mean your house is blowing up or floods or, like this. It may manifest that way for you physically. But oftentimes these tower moments are more of a revelation of sorts. I had that. I woke up with this like really, giant perspective shift. That once this happens, you don't go back to another way of looking at things. It can be just in the mind. And we had that Ten of Swords come up day before yesterday, right? Or day for yesterday, not today's reading. Whatever, like the one for Thursday. So it doesn't necessarily mean, and then of course we had this, this very soothing balm of the Ace of Cups coming in. Ace of Cups is also, by the way, a card of being able to fill up your own cup and tap into your own divinity in a way that it doesn't matter, that there's nothing external, nothing apparently external that is fulfilling or a source of nourishment. This is being able to tap into your own source, your own divinity, and know that you're plentiful, right? And the messages coming in, again, all of this like messages, it's like a lot of fiery messages, like it's kind of like like a big change of perspective coming in from the divine, but essentially all is well underneath. So there's, as much as this looks like a scary card, sometimes it really is simply that it's just a way of, it's not that you're pitching people out, and maybe you are. It depends. Everybody's different. But although there was not this I had a rough day. Like I was in and out of a variety of different emotions throughout the course of the day. I didn't have a rough day, whatever. But there we are. But it was because something was changing here and here, which then creates, again, some better options. Oh, actually, and you have an opportunity to look at things very differently and make some different choices and see that, again, there's plenty to go around. We're not going to use the Rider-Waite Tarot deck for the reading for Saturday, though. We're going to use one of my old favorites. I read from this a couple of years ago, and I haven't used it yet in my more recent readings, but I love this Shadowscapes deck by Stephanie Pui-Manlaw, and the think the artistry is done by her. Just, I always like to give credit where credit is due. Yeah, Barbara Moore is the author, and also Stephanie Puiman Law. She is the author and artist. And this is such a beautiful, delicate, lovely, lovely deck. I'm excited. Oh, I'm feeling so excited to do that. But I want to just pan around just really quickly. I don't know if you can see all of these fabulous crystals that I got today. Thank you, Stuart and Janet from A Path to Change. And those in Nature's Treasures. I popped over there in Austin. Path to Change is in Towson, Maryland, Owings Mills. I'll tag them in this. You should definitely get on their page on Facebook. And I don't know if Nature's Treasures has a page, but I'll look. We already have a card flipping. Temperance. Hi, I love this deck. I love it. Got some great crystals. That's I'm making a crystal grid for I am a group of friends on Sunday evening. Pretty excited about it. Happy Father's Day weekend to those of you who are dads. Dads are special. Love you, Daddy. Love to my husband. Amazing man. Lucky to have amazing men in my life. So let's clear my energy. And let's do the reading for Saturday, June 18th. No, 19th. All right. Oh, we have 3 that just came out. Oh, no, 4 that just came out. Little vignette here in the middle. So we had the Temperance card came out. That's a major arcana card. Okay. The little vignette we have that's come out here is the Ten of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, the Hermit, and the Seven of Swords. So that's a little vignette that came out. Page of Pentacles, the Ten of Wands, the Hermit, and the Seven of Swords. All right. And then we'll see if there's anything else that wants to come out for Saturday, June 19th. What is the energy? What are any other energies that we can consider working with? Help us work through our day and have the most fun and give us the most insight. Sorry, there's a little stuttery thing going on with the film today. I'm not really sure what's going on. We don't know. Maybe it'll settle down. It is getting to the, and Mercury is stationed, so anything can happen. Stationed at the degree of spirituality in the sign of Gemini, which it is in its rulership. And it's all about communication on the everyday level. In our locale, it's changing our attitudes, changing our minds. That's, that's a reflection inside the way we think about ourselves. It's kind of like how we are, Gemini is kind of how we are when we're teenagers, right? A lot of self-thinking, focused on the self, which you're supposed to be when you're a teenager, right? And developing your identity. Right? But then there we go. There's our final card. 4 of Pentacles. Okay. So I'll angle the card, and the bottom of the deck is the the 5 of Swords reversed. So again, these are all upright, but this card came up reversed. Interesting. Okay, so 5 of Swords reversed. I'd like to see that. Queen of Cups. My favorite. That's my card. I love this Queen of Cups. And the Magician. Ooh, one of my... All right, so let's angle the camera down, and let's talk about these. So the Temperance card came out first. That's a major arcana. The No, the Hermit, we have another one, major arcana here. Okay. So let's see. Temperance card is a card of balance. It's a card of alchemy. It's very similar in many ways to the Magician card, but it's further down the story of the major arcana, further in the journey of the dreamer's journey. And in the Temperance card, card of Sagittarius, it's teaching us how to, usually it's depicted with a person balancing a cup of fire and a cup of water. 1 foot on the land, 1 foot in the water. In this particular deck, which again is the Shadowscape Tarot, it's so fantastical. I just love the artwork in this deck. She's she is creating. You see the element of fire and the element of water in this stream. It's almost like Harry Potter, like, that pensive, that bowl that Voldemort, but that's not the one. Dumbledore had, where he would look in and it would swirl, and there would be these memories. And so perhaps we are looking into our memories, and I feel like there is a lot of the old we are in that place where we are alchemizing our wisdom that we have gained over the course of a lifetime, however long that may be for you, and the new ways that we have rapidly learned over the past, definitely year or two. And certainly I would say in the past decade to 4 years. And the Temperance card is the 14th card. So a 1 and a 4 brings us to a 5. And that 5 is the changing of the mind. Again, we're coming back to this. So how our past and all of the wisdom that we have gained, can we recognize that it is wisdom? And can we start to blend? We're starting to blend and create something here that we're crafting. Like I see there's a lot of movement. I feel like she's really molding it almost like clay, like a potter molds clay into a new way of being, a new way of thinking. But I see her eyes are closed, and so in this, there's a very meditative, she's doing this by feel rather than any kind of logical dictate. I've never noticed the wings that she's wearing, and that is so typical of the figure in the Temperance card. It is usually an angel. I'm feeling Archangel Gabriel in this card, which is not normal because Archangel Gabriel is not the sign of Sagittarius, but I'm feeling an Archangel Gabriel sense here. Archangel Gabriel is the, communication angel, right? But she is also the Archangel of Cancer, speaking from the heart. I see that she not only has this at her heart, and it's very large, it's very large. She's cradling it in her body. This is something that, it's coming from the heart. It's coming from she's almost curling herself around this ball. And there is definitely a real feminine aspect to this, although that's not very clear, but there is a very feminine aspect to this. And she's curling herself around it almost in a very protective way. So this is a future. This is a new way of being that's being crafted. A real blending of all energies. Very careful. Forging it in not only fire but water. Tempered. Tempered also will make something. Temperance. Tempering anything will make it very strong. And also, like tempered glass will filter rather than let in anything harmful. So I definitely see this as what we're creating now, we're very protective. We're not necessarily putting what is happening is still kind of under the surface. It's not something we're going to be putting out there anytime soon. And we're going to take our time blending, alchemizing. the energy. The Four of Pentacles was upright. So, yeah, none of them. The only thing that was upside down was that. So the little vignette here we have in the middle is the Ten of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, the Hermit, and the Seven of Swords. So let's focus on these guys. The Ten of Wands is a card of, of burden, of wanting to put the burden down. And so in a very, as she's that, both figures in these cards are kind of curled forward, whereas this is a very relaxed person. This lady's looking up and kind of looking for some help is what I see her doing. She's sometimes I often see the Ten of Wands card as, I've decided to pick up these burdens. And I don't necessarily see that as any different tonight. I don't get that feel. I feel like she's trying to pick this up. She's not entirely certain. She's looking out for a little bit of help. Like, maybe somebody's out there who is willing to share these responsibilities with her of all of this that she's built. It's part, and as you can see, she's very tree-like, and it's part of her. But the other cards that have come out with this are the Page of Pentacles, who is a figure, this is a court card. This is a figure who's learning to balance their resources and to their finances, their material, anything on the material plane, their relationships, learning lots, and always definitely curious and learning something new. We've got the Hermit, and then we've got the Seven of Swords. So with this, what I see is, although we may be looking out, and we're definitely, we're holding a lamp out, we're a beacon. There's an energy of wanting to do something new, wanting to learn something new. So maybe we're thinking that, there's some parts of some of these wands we definitely want to kind of continue to cultivate. But we want to start picking up some new ways of holding these. So we have to take our time to think about that. The Hermit card is also one of higher learning, looking for a higher way of working with these responsibilities, working with the responsibilities that we have. Because we don't want to end up in the Seven of Swords energy, which is this feeling of, something's been taken, that it's that place where you feel when you're always giving and you're never getting. It's a place of lack. Usually, and this is Seven of the Swords, remember, are a suit of the mind. It's a suit of thought process. So in here, again, that's no different. What I see is we're trying to instead of being occupied with this one sword, or maybe there's this one responsibility that's really overwhelming in this picture. We can't quite figure out how to, to bring it into the rest. And, perhaps we just need to set it down, even if it's just for a moment, in order to ascend and to come into a higher thought process about it than we would normally use. I see this swan here trying to, take this one sword, and so he's picking on this one sword, which is a very low vibrational thing, whereas there's a higher sword that we could possibly be working with. Something more inspirational. But to get there, you've got to kind of sit with it. And that's the Hermit card. That's coming into the Hermit energy, where we have to go within and take a break and, not try to carry. We've got to put at least some of this down, take some time, and know that things are going to be taken care of. This is also being in a place of, when we give ourselves that time to step back, we know that we don't have to sit around and attend to absolutely everything. We've got to find, and that's when we start to get a fresher perspective, and we're starting to come into a different brand of wisdom. And instead of, continuing to look down at just this one sword that never seems to fit into the picture, no matter how hard you try, this is just not working. Like, at some point you have to admit that, rather than continue to hold on to it. And that's where we come into the Four of Pentacles. So again, this one's, you see this dragon is holding on to one particular pentacle. And, it doesn't usually in a Four of Pentacles card, the pentacles are all of them are being hoarded. But this one particular pentacle is like, my precious, it's very Gollum-ish. And these other pentacles, I gotta put my screen back on. These other pentacles aren't even being held. By the way, I think this is more of a weekend overtone, by the way. So, he's so fixated, very similar to our figure in the Seven of Swords. It's really super fixated on that one particular sword, this looping thought, if you will, right? We're going to go back to those looping thoughts. He's lost his other three pentacles. So this dragon doesn't even have his grip on the other pentacles involved. It's like, oh, I've got this one big one, but this cute little tiny one is just kind of balancing on. I'm trying to balance this on my tail, and so we'll come back to this Ten of Wands card. What can you put down? It's all valuable. It's all part of who you are and part of your makeup. Back to this Temperance, yes, there are some pieces of it that we're going to alchemize and incorporate into the new, but we have to come into it with new thought processes, and we're just getting started with this, so we don't even know. We're not sure about how that's going to turn out, but we might need to take a class. It might be a meditation class. We might need to start doing different kinds of meditation or working our practices that are nurturing to us. So this thing that we're carefully crafting, this new way of going forward, this ball is becoming part of her in a very similar way that the Ten of Wands burden is becoming part of her. But like in Pirates of the Caribbean, like part of the ship, part of the crew. Like she's this thing has grown into her so much that it's bent her back. She's bent in half because of the burden. Something's got to give. Something's got to give because you can't take it all. You too. All that you can't leave behind, that's what I'm thinking about. And so at the bottom of the deck, we've got, this Five of Swords, but it's in reverse. So it's in the reverse. Normally the Five of Swords is an energy of, clashing ideologies. Again, the power of the mind and, clashing thought patterns, not feeling accepted. This is also a card of not feeling accepted, the Seven of Swords. But this is actually on a spiritual level, like on a very deep, spirit level. This is as in addition to the thoughts. Like, all of these are clashing belief systems and, nobody, and this is almost a self-isolation as well. This is letting it, and then the next card up is the Eight of Swords, which is, again, that prison of your own mind. From the 5 to the 6, it's all kind of ratchets up until we get to that 10, which we saw, earlier in the week. But this guy is, coming in. But it was in reverse. So this isn't, again, it is all in the mind. It's all in your mind. It's an upside down look at things. It's warped, if you will. So whatever your mind is telling you, we're being definitely told to release the old belief systems. Sit. Get quiet for a minute, even for 15 minutes, set a timer. The Queen of Cups is here, and then the Magician is here. We can make anything out of, you can look at it in any way you want, and you can either make magic, or you can make it, this kind of nightmare, where you're trying to hold on to, that kind of nightmare where you're trying to run, and you can't, run anywhere, you're not going anywhere. Where you're glued. Yeah, you're not running. You're glued. You're absolutely glued and pinned down. So the this 10 of Wands, although it's not as, dire as that 10 of Swords was earlier in the week, this woman is just as pinned down by everything that she's trying to carry with her. You can't take it all with you. So what needs to go? So we can have a fresh perspective. So we can start to create something that's really beautiful and something that we can move forward. I see all of these tendrils coming out of this Temperance card, which is, you're, even though you're creating it and you're kind of holding it within, no matter what, that vibe is not only going in, but it's going out. Like there's this wonderful, ebb and flow, this beautiful give and take that's very even. Nothing is taking over. It's all blended and it's very beautiful. So you're sending out a vibe. Like what you're creating is sending out a vibe to draw in what you need and to draw out. I had this, and the queen, before I even go there, I want to talk about, and again, the whirling vortex that this Queen of Cups is creating. Like she's creating everything around her just by spinning her arms out. The turtles are rising up to help her step. She's wearing a beautiful gown. She's completely at ease. She's at ease in her environment, and she's creating her environment, and she's in control of her emotions. She's not letting her thoughts run away with her. So she's a beautiful pairing with a reverse Five of Swords, and a good counter to the Seven of Swords, and the counter to this Four of Pentacles. We've got the Tower. The Tower's back again, even in this deck. So we're continuing to have these Tower moments, which we got look, the Ace of Cups came up again. Like you cannot make this stuff up. This energy is still with us. We have what it needs. We are spiritually, if we tap into our, and there's the Hermit card, right? We tap into our own spirituality. This Tower stuff, and I see this as the busting up of this game. Of the way too much of that. Like you're going to have to something has to be set down. Something doesn't fit. Something is rotten in Denmark. But you know how to deal with it. You know how to deal with it. You know how to handle this moment. These feelings that may feel shocking and towerish and hugely challenging to your belief systems, what you thought you were going to do. And you don't have to turn around and do something about it like immediately. But the reality is there. It's undeniable. Stop fooling yourself that you can carry it, because guess what? What? Part of the ship, part of the crew, you're just going to become part of the ship forever, and you're not even actually living. You've become just an empty vessel. That ain't living. That's just doing more of the same. Right? Right? But we want to do something different. We want to learn different ways of being and approaching things, a fresh new perspective. Curiosity. This is a card of curiosity. Of curiosity in where, of anything, that there's something more. What can there's got to be something more. There's a playfulness, a joy, creativeness here. Creativeness. She's hugely creative. She's rich in her emotional and spiritual life. But yeah, we've still got that. We've still got that Tower. And here's the thing about the Tower. Let it in, because if you don't, it's just going to keep burning everything around you. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself acknowledge it. It's okay to admit the reality. And to be reborn. It doesn't have to happen. It can either happen and feel rough and yes, and feel like everything is blowing up around you, or you can just try it, just feel what it feels to try on some of these new ways of being and see how your heart responds. See how your heart responds. There it is. I was looking for the Magician card. because it can be magical. What can you make with this? What can you make? So the Magician card and the Temperance card are here. Cards of making magic. Cards of making it whatever you want. As long as you're listening to your heart. And just being brave. And honestly, so doing 50%, don't go 100%. So I'll talk about the 50% thing another time. We can talk about that, but at any rate, it's just about, there's no such thing as more than 100%. In any given situation, you really can only give 50%. The magic happens when you allow the other 50% to come in. But that can feel like a leap of faith because you don't know what that other 50% contains or where it's coming from. And we get so fixated on one particular outcome that we are very mean-spirited and we don't allow the ascension, the divine, to come in and do its thing. But it wants to come in. To make the magic. So at any rate, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you all. I'm going to make this a weekend reading, actually. I think this is a good one for the weekend. And I'm going to leave it, take off tomorrow to put together a crystal grid for my group on Sunday and work on that. And then we'll come back on I'll come back probably, Sunday night or Monday morning with a new reading. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. If you want a private reading, lisa.loring, lisa.loring@gmail.com is the email address. PayPal and Venmo, I love donations, and I appreciate those who do support, and that's very nice. And either way, it doesn't matter. I love doing this for you. I love doing the work, and it's my pleasure. I appreciate you. I love you. Have a great weekend.